Okay, good morning, 26th of Elul. Hayom Yom. Hayom Yom. Interesting. The procedure of kashering meat, right? We don't see it much because we buy kosher meat, but people used to have to do these. Three things he mentioned. Kashering meat for eating, which is by purging it of forbidden blood. So you have to get the blood out. And the three aspects of that process are soaking, salting, and rinsing. And he explains these in terms of avoidance. Soaking, as you would expect, immersing yourself in the Rebbe's words, in the teachings of the Rebbe. Salting, giving the taste, the tam, a little spice to it, is a yechidus, and the yechidus of the Rebbe. And rinsing is nigun. I just have to say, my own interpretation is that I haven't seen anything. How is nigun like rinsing? Rinsing is with water, right? And water has a flow. Songs have a flow. They flow. They have a cadence. They have a rhythm. They have a tempo. And that's how I've understood the third piece. Whether or not that's the intention, I can't tell you. And you have your own understandings of it. All right. But in any case, listen to Tanya. He gets back into the flow. We're completing this letter 817, this long letter. Start the completion of it that we have today. Starts on page 311 in Lessons in Tanya. And Kuti Amore, it's page 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines that. Oh, I forgot to put my headphones. Have you been hearing me?
We have, but it wasn't as good as just now.
Yeah, my earphones weren't in.
This is better. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is better.
I'm sure it's better. I was wondering, amazing that you heard me at all. The microphone on this must be pretty good. It picked it up from the table. Okay. Yes. So remember, this has been a pretty long letter. And I want to recall to you that in this letter, we have, this is a good reference letter to the whole subject of Soviv Kol Almin, what Soviv Kol Almin is. In what we're doing now, we're comparing it to the revelation that will be La'asid Lavai, whether in this case La'asid Lavai, the future to come, means the resurrection. And in the time of the resurrection, there will be a revelation of Soviv, which means what? It means that Soviv is, like the circle implies, Soviv, there's no beginning, there's no end. So it transcends, they always use the words, it's transcendent. It transcends the notion of measure, division, quantity, quality. It's that sense, it's the place of yichud, of singularity, not unity. Unity is when you take a bunch of things and put them together. Singularity, which is the ultimate source of everything. And in that space of singularity, there's no difference between physical and spiritual, up or down. And that's the revelation that will be in the future. It's not now. One of the characteristics of Soviv now, though it's transcendent, and meaning it doesn't lose that definition, its transcendency, its allness, and its allness is embedded in everything. It's not visible. It's concealed. That's one of the characteristics of Soviv Kol Almin. It's Helam. It's concealed. In the future, in the multiplicity, in the diversity, the allness, which is totally contradictory to that, in which nothing is singular, nothing is diverse. The allness and diversity will be preserved, and at the same time, there will be a revelation of that which is beyond multiplicity and diversity. Right? Soiviv Kol Almin. And this chapter that we went through did a very good and is a good reference point for understanding Mamale, filling all worlds, which is the revelation of godliness, which is responsible for differentiation, and creation, creation is a bunch of differentiated things, worlds, and Soiviv. And he culminates this letter today by telling us, coming back to a point that has been a topic that has been pretty much a theme of the Igeres HaKodesh so far, which is tzedeka, and tells us that the mitzvah of tzedeka is an embodiment of this Or HaSovev, as follows. As follows, yes. It's based, he bases today on a saying, V'zehu rechava mitzvaysecha ma'od. This is what is meant by your mitzvah is very wide. And he says, mitzvah, this mitzvah is, word mitzvah is singular. To be plural, it should have been mitzvah secha, your mitzvos, because there are a lot of mitzvos, mitzvah secha. But what's the singular mitzvah? The one which embodies all is tzedeka. And its being very wide, as we'll see, means that it contains and brings forth the sovev, the transcendent level, which includes everything. So it's an all-inclusive mitzvah. This we've talked about before, that the mitzvah system in general is called tzedeka. But here we're putting a little spin on that, a little understanding of that. Why are all the mitzvahs called tzedeka? Because tzedeka embodies them all in the way that Soiviv Kol Almim embodies all of reality in a singularity. So v'zehu rechava mitzvaysecha ma'od. This is what they say, that your mitzvah is very, very wide. Hi mitzvah ha-tzedaka. That's the mitzvah of tzedaka. Shehi kli, it's a vessel. V'shetach rav, and it's a big area, ma'od, very big. Lehislabish bo ha'oris orein sof boraho. It's big. Big here means more than that. There's a lot of space. It's big, and it gets to a level of largesse, a level of largeness, which is beyond measure, because it's a container, if you could say such a thing. This is kind of a thing in its opposite, a container for that which is uncontainable. It's a container. What's the thing that's uncontainable? Is the Or Ein Sof itself. By definition, right? If the Or is Ein Sof without limit, how can it be contained? Well, Soiviv Kol Almim resolves those opposites. It's the place where those opposites don't exist. And so, therefore, the mitzvah tzedakah is singular in that it contains the Or Ein Sof, the ha'ora, the ray of the Or Ein Sof. Moshe Kosev has written, Levushe tzedakah, his garments are tzedakah. And this harks back to the pasuk we learned many, many letters ago, that he dresses himself in righteousness. And just like the garment is an outside of you thing and covers it all, right? All your body from head to toe, your garments. So Soiviv Kol Almim is in a certain sense outside, because it's not within the realm of Mamale, but yet it covers and embeds itself in all of reality. And this is what's written, Levushe tzedakah, his garment is tzedakah. Asher yor la'asod. And this Soiviv Kol Almim, this illumination of Ein Sof, infinity, or infinitude, will irradiate in the future the beginning bli gvul, in a manner of bli gvul. Within the gvul is boundedness, limitations. Within the boundedness and separateness of worlds will continue to exist. And interesting, we mentioned this before, oilam, world is melashon helem, ayin lamed mem, which is hidden. But in the future, in the resurrection, that which is hidden in the worlds will no longer be hidden. And the worlds will continue to exist, but their allness will be revealed. Their soibi will be revealed. Their bligvul, their limitlessness will be revealed in the limitedness. So this is the revelation of the future bligvul v'tachlis, without any boundedness, without any end. And this will radiate in the world, in all the worlds, but particularly, as we learned yesterday, in Olam Hazeh Hagashmi, in this physical world, because the principle is the deeper it comes from, the lower it's able to reach. And this is the lowest of the low. And it comes into the Or HaSoibe will be Magala, revealed in the Or Mamale, in the Or which fills all worlds, Bechesed Chinam. Expression means gratuitous kindness. So the idea is, just as we do Chesed Chinam, like, the Rebbe, all many Sichas, Memorim, and in the 3 weeks leading up to Tisha B'Av, the temple was destroyed because of Sinas Chinam, gratuitous, unlimited, the opposite of love. So the temple will be built with Avos Chinam, with excessive, unordinary, over-the-top love. And the principle is that what we do down here elicits from above. So when we perform acts of kindness in an unlimited way, we go out of ourselves more than the norm. So Hashem goes out of himself more than the norm. And what's the norm? The norm is worlds. He's the creator. He fills all worlds. He goes out of that. I mean, he continues that, but he draws from a deeper level of himself, just like we're drawing from a deeper level of ourselves to reveal the deeper level, which is Soiver Kalam. So, this is the idea of bligvul, without limitation, the chesed chinam, with gratuitous, unlimited kindness. Hashem will go out of himself through our arousal from below, beyond our natural self. And this is called Derech Hashem. It's called Derech Hashem because when we go out of ourselves, it's still in a limited way. I'm going to give, no matter what I give, I'm giving quantities. I'm giving 100, I'm giving 1,000, I'm giving 1,000,000, no matter what it is, right? But Hashem, when he's Derech Hashem, his going out of himself is he brings from the level which is totally beyond quantity, which is the level of Soiver Kalam. V'zehu lashin ma'oid, right back to what we said. Rachava misvasecha ma'oid. Your singular mitzvah of tzedeka brings the ma'oid, the additional, that which is not normally expressed, the ma'oid. Shehu bligvul v'tachlis. It brings out from Hashem that which is completely without boundedness, completely without limit, and not just more and more quantity, but at a different level completely. Aval, however, l'chol tekola re'isi kates. There's a pasuk that says, pasuk in Tilim, for every purpose I have seen that there's an end. Now, we look at this word tekola, which we're translating purpose. The word tekola has the word all in it, but it's also the word klois, expiration, like the expiration of the soul. And that's how he's going to touch it. To all expirations of the soul, in other words, to all yearnings, the lashon klois nefesh, the expiration or yearning of the soul, there will be an end. What does that mean? Shebegan Eden, in the levels of Gan Eden, shehu bechinas kates betachlis, which there are levels in Gan Eden. Wherever you're talking levels, you're talking about mamale kol almin. There are levels. The biggest subdivisions is Gan Eden Atachton, the lower level of Gan Eden, and the upper level of Gan Eden. And so we call that, those are levels, those are tachlis. Each one has a end, a division. And that's created as a result of the tzimtzum, the concealment of the light. V'lachol, and it says, v'lachol takola, and with all, what does it mean, all of this? With all of this takola, I have seen an end. So all of this, these levels, and also klois nefesh, and all of these are yearnings. Yearnings is because you're not close to your beloved, and you want to be close. There's a distance. In Soiviv Kol Almin, there's no distance. Everything is there. Everything is in the yichud, in the singularity of Hashem. So l'chol techola, in all yearnings, in all distances, hu lefi sheyesh kama al kama milas u'madregas. So why is that in Gan Eden? We said there's going to be an end to that. There's going to be an end to yearning. There's going to be an end because you're there. There's no yearning. There's going to be an end to levels. There'll be an end. Lefi sheyesh Gan Eden yesh kama v'kama milas u'madregas. There are many, many elevations and many, many levels in Gan Eden. Zula ma'ila mazu. Each one higher than the other. Adoraim hamaylos, to the highest levels of Gan Eden. Meshakotzav Lakuti Ashas Maharizal, as the Arizal writes in his collection. I mean, you should know, whenever we're speaking about the writings of the Arizal didn't write anything. His student Chaim Batal is the writer, but they're Kisvei HaArizal nevertheless, because they're the writings down of the Arizal's way of presenting things. And anyway, Likutei Hashas is known from the writings in Likutei Hashas from the Arizal. The Pirush Maimon Rizal, as the Arizal, Chaim Batal explains the Arizal. It says the Arizal comments on the following: Talmidei Chachamim ein lehem manuch. The Talmid Chacham, one who's learning, is his life, and in this there are different levels of Talmidei Chachamim. Not everybody is a goyin, a genius, and not everybody is a nasi, a prince or a leader. There are levels in Talmidei Chachamim. Talmidei Chachamim ein lehem manucha, but it says in Gan Eden they don't have any rest because they're constantly moving from one place to another. They're elevating, they're being elevated constantly from one level to another. And what the levels that we're talking about? The infinite levels that there are in understanding the Torah. So those are level after level after level without end. And it doesn't have any end. Until after Techiyas HaMesim. Until after Techiyas HaMesim, Sheyir Lahem Manucha, when they will have rest. Like Shabbos. Shabbos is called Manucha. And the revelation of Shabbos is there's nothing to do except to be part and parcel of the infinite. And that's the Or HaSoiv Kol Almin. And the point here, the operational or the bechein point of this chapter is, how do we elicit that? How do we bring that closer? Just like bringing the Geula is a function of us, each one of us rectifying our own Mashiach Prati, the singular inside individual Mashiach, until gradually the Mashiach Klali, the general Mashiach, is able to be revealed. So similarly, Techiyas HaMesim, this state of singularity, where there is no differentiation, and we can finally rest, is a function of our chesed chinam, our unlimited righteousness, tzedeka. Any questions or comments? Remarks?
Bottom line is give tzedeka.
What? What did you say?
Give tzedeka.
Give tzedeka. Give tzedeka. Give tzedeka. All right. Yeah.
I have a question. So while we were reading today's, when I was thinking of before today, I was thinking, the Ein Sof is coming down. We're creating a vessel by giving tzedakah. But today it hit me like what we're doing actually is making a dwelling place for Hashem. Yes. That's what it's describing, the dwelling place of Hashem. And then my question is then, like, what's the difference if this oneness will be here? What's the difference between our world and Atzilus, let's say, where there's only oneness? Like, I guess that's
That's a good question. As you see my face, I'm pondering. It's a very good question. The worlds, I mean, here, let's take the principle. The worlds will maintain their diverse characteristics. So there'll be less concealment. In other words, the function of more or less concealment is a function of mamale, right? More or less concealment. So, but what does that mean if there's a revelation of soivet? I'm not answering. I don't know how to answer that question. That's a great question. First of all, maybe the fact that we're not answering it is it's a paradox, right? Because we don't get that. How it can be that there can be multiplicity at all, one thing different from another, and at the same time there will be a revelation of that where nothing is any different from any other because it's all soivet, and those two things will exist together. I guess that's the best answer I can give. That right now we have no hasaga in that because it's paradoxical, and that's as far as I can go. Anybody have an angle on that? Or maybe we need to, I think it's something research. But I think that might be the answer, that we can't answer that today because we're living in a state where these two things are paradoxical. In the future, these two things will not be paradoxical. They will exist at the same time. But we can't get that. So sorry, but we'll see.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It just started, I started thinking, well, then what's the difference between Atzilus and us, once this...
Right. But that's the paradox. How can there be differences and at the same time singularity? That's the question. And as I said, my only answer is the reason we can't answer that is because that's not the state. We have no insight into that state of the future. That's as far as I can go. Go ahead. Anybody else? All right, so back to the first comment. Give tzedaka bechinon, bechesed chinon. And until we meet again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.